Welcome to the Man Room.
Welcome to the Man Room.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Man Room podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Bridges. Thanks for joining us today. Super excited about today's episode. We're going to talk some comedy. We're going to talk some food. We're going to talk all sorts of fun stuff. We're definitely going to talk beer because we didn't do that in the last one. So before we get to our guest today, real quick, a little bit of homework for you. Make sure to check out www.themanroompodcast.com. That's where you can donate to the show and help us move this train down these tracks. We're trying to build momentum. It's kind of hard. It's like somebody put dimes in front of our wheels, but we're working on it. Check us out on Facebook, The Man Room Podcast. We're also on Patreon at The Man Room Podcast. You can get a little bit of extra content every week for just $3 a month there. So, also, check us out on Spotify and then 5-star rate on Apple. That's all the homework. Let's get to our guest today. Joining me from the good part of Southern Oregon that we like to call Medford, it's my good buddy Nick Lanier. How you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me today in the Man Room. Full disclosure for anybody listening, if it comes through that either one of us are hot, it's because it's 1,000 degrees up here in the Man Room today, and really nice day in Eugene, having trouble cooling it off.
Yeah, it's toasty.
It's toasty, but hey, most of the parties I've had the most fun at in my life, there's been people sweating, so I feel like maybe I'm on the right track here already.
Drugs might have had a hand in that. I don't know.
I don't, yeah, I mean, no comment, I guess.
Yeah,
is what I'll say. So you're coming up here from Medford. I imagine a little bit warmer down there even than it is up here today, yeah?
Yeah, it's, global warming and whatnot.
Yep, global
I feel like
warming.
We're turning into Texas.
Yeah, it's really weird. I heard a crazy stat. Last night I was watching the news, which is going to date me, but whatever. They said that we got as much rain on the first day of May in Eugene that we got in the entire month of April.
Damn.
That's a little bit scary because the April showers are supposed to bring the May flowers, but now what we have is April showers don't come and the world starts on fire.
Right.
It's pretty much the only way it goes.
Yeah, and in Southern Oregon, I mean, we're the epicenter for that in Oregon. I mean, one of my hometown, my second hometown burnt halfway last year, like half gone now.
So you probably knew some people that suffered great loss. Hopefully you didn't know anybody that was injured or killed in that, but you probably knew people that lost businesses, homes, everything. Yeah,
I definitely did, and I helped feed over 10,000 meals for Rogue Food Unites.
That's awesome.
I used my chefy skills and cooked something up for the people that needed it at the time. So
that's awesome.
I was happy
dude.
to do that.
That's awesome. I love hearing stories about people helping out, and especially people that, they have a skill. I mentioned it in the intro. We're going to talk about food here today because you do have a particular set of skills, as Liam Neeson would say.
Yep.
And that's awesome that you use that to help out in any way that you could. I was just trying to host people because, the eastern part of Springfield caught on fire too. And I got some relatives over there, and we had a full-size trailer pulled up in the driveway where my aunt and uncle were living for a couple of days. And it's weird, man. It sparks this thing in me. Like when those fires happen, and it was weird that it happened Southern Oregon, Central Oregon, and up at Portland too, was all on fire at the same time. I'm not like a doomsday prepper. In fact, I was so far away from doomsday prepper that when those fires were happening, I was like, if we had to leave tomorrow, would I be able to take anything, or would I just grab the dogs and it would be the dogs and us in the car? And, my wife and I, we kind of chatted about it, and we went out and spent, $300 or $400 on just some food and some like a tent and a backpack and just a knife and just like some shit that's just there in case it all falls apart. And I will be honest with you, I slept a little bit better after that when the whole world was on fire.
Right.
So
you got to be prepared because the apocalypse is imminent.
Exactly.
It's on its way.
Exactly.
Probably in our lifetime, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you know what is really a bummer that as you take a sip of that hazy IPA that you're drinking, I just realized I don't have any beer or any liquor in that box.
Man.
I got to change that because I guess the whiskey could double as like a disinfectant if I really wanted to waste it, right? So as we always do here on the Man Room Podcast, we're going to start out by talking about what we brought to drink today. You, I know, are a fan of the Hazy IPAs. I went to the store today to get a hazy from a place that I normally, walk into. There's like 6 or 8 different varieties. Today they had one, so
nice.
Shame on me for being underprepared and not doing my homework. But today we are drinking the Ecliptic Brewing Phaser Hazy IPA. I believe Ecliptic is out of Portland. Almost gave Washington too much credit.
Oh yeah.
This is really good though, man. I like the hazies. I've talked about it on the show before that. My problem with the hazies is in the quantity. As I should always make this a caveat, in the quantity that I drink them. Right. They can really tear my stomach up after a while. Do you find that? Yeah.
They sure can, but they taste so good that I just kind of power through it. I don't,
It is really. I mean, it's hard for me to stay away from them. I started out liking them back when it was like. They weren't really calling them hazy. They were more like the New England IPA, and they weren't quite as fruity. Right. But when these Oregon breweries and Pacific Northwest breweries really started leaning into the hazy trend, the flavors that came out of some of these beers are just second to none, man.
It's insane. And I mean, I compare it to weed here in Oregon. Like there's so many hazies. It's like you're at the dispensary when you're at the beer store.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, I wish I could just smell it. Like. You can't pop the jar open on that one.
Right. We can't pop the jar open on anything anymore during damn COVID. It's really a bummer to walk into a dispensary and not be able to smell a big jar of flour.
Yeah, because I hate lemony weed. Yeah. I hate it.
Really?
Anything hazy or, just get it away from me, man.
Gosh, see, and that's crazy because that's my jam.
Yeah.
I love the stuff that I picked up today is just it's limonene and myrcene in the terp profile like nobody's business. But you're not the first person I've heard. So you probably like the Kushes. You like the more earthy flavor.
Yeah, cookies. Yep. Kushes.
What do you think about the GMO stuff? The breathy strains.
I love it.
Do you?
It's gas but offensive at the same time, and I love it.
I love the effects of GMO. I mean, we might as well jump into it. You and I both spent pretty significant time in the cannabis industry. Yes. I did bud tending and management for retail and then also sales for extracts direct to dispensaries. You worked for an extract company as well?
Yeah, it was called Fat. It's still open, but it's called Fat Pack Extracts. And, I helped in the beginning with their marketing team and distribution and packing dabs. That was probably the majority of my job.
Nice. Well, it's an interesting industry because in the last few years, once recreational hit, I guess it's been 5 years now, almost, maybe even 6. It just kind of exploded into that variety where people like you and me were. Before, we used to buy from my buddy Joe in Western Springfield, and you just go sit on the couch with him for a little while, and you get what he got,
The medical days.
Exactly. But now it's like, I don't really like a haze, and if it's far enough down the lineage, it'll give me a headache, And while I feel like a snob, I also think it's really fucking cool that we've got the ability to be that selective. And I mean, let's face it, best cannabis in the world is grown right here in the southern part of Oregon, the northern part of California. It doesn't get any better.
They include Jackson County in the Emerald Triangle type of thing now, they're at least giving us the nod,
Yep, they should. There's some great farms from down that way. Benson Arbor is one of my favorite that comes from down there. Applegate River Roots, I love in fact, little fun fact about the Applegate River Roots, I have 1 dab left of their Peach Cheese Wreck live resin that was done by White Label Extracts. It's been sitting in my fridge for 6 months now because I think for my money, it's the best smelling and tasting extract that I've ever had.
And you just can't smoke that last
Can't smoke the last one, dude. Yeah. And it's not the first time it's happened. I've had shatter, when I was big into shatter back in the day, I had a couple of little, pinky fingernail-sized pieces of shatter of one was from Mother Magnolia that was, I think it was Chocolate Oranges was the strain, and it was just stupid. And I can't remember what the other one was, but I'm like that, where I won't hoard a full gram, but I'll smoke the entire thing and then hoard 1 dab just for good time's sake, or
great.
Spend it on a celebration or something like that. So,
I mean, if if a big thing comes along, you get a new yacht.
Yeah, there you go.
You could christen the yacht. I mean, what's so special that you'll smoke that last dab?
I don't know. It's a really good question. I think I'm going to save it right now for the very first time that I get to be back in Autzen Stadium watching a Ducks football game. Because I've been a season ticket holder for almost a decade now, and we missed last year, and it was... Dude, I didn't do anything in the fall. I just sat here on my thumb and leaned back on my finger. It was fucking boring, and I feel like something like that is really... Or maybe, the first concert that I go to after COVID or anything.
I miss concerts so much.
Oh, more than certain dead relatives. It's ridiculous.
For sure.
And I mean, I missed Tool and Rage Against the Machine in 2020.
Oh, no.
I wasn't even, and this is what I said.
Was it Prophets of Rage or Rage Against the Machine?
No, it's Rage. They were going through on a last tour, and last tour. They all say that. They'd come back in 5 years.
Kiss said that 50 times.
Right, exactly. Motley Crue's on their last tour to the 10th or something like that with Vince Neil. But anyway, I wasn't ever supposed to see Rage Against the Machine, I think, like in the way of the world. They had stopped touring right about the same time that I started going to shows when I was like 13, 14. And then they didn't tour all the way through like college when all I did was spend all my money on shows. And now it's like, okay, I'm 36. It's coming full circle. I finally get to go see Rage. And then the whole world's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And just shut it down. I've seen Tool before. That one, it hurt, but I was okay with it.
You know what hurt me is the last concert I saw before COVID was Machine Gun Kelly. And I would like to,
like
see
to
something else.
Wash that taste out of your mouth a little bit.
I mean, I like Machine Gun Kelly and everything, but, for that to be my last one before this, that's not right for me.
Bummer.
Yeah.
So what kind of shows are you into?
Mostly hip hop. I was a hip hop promoter for 9 years, and so I've seen a lot of big people in the industry, down to Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg, and
that's awesome.
Tech 9 4 times, and it's just I just love the hip hop vibe.
Yeah. Live music. I mean, really, for me, it's live music. It doesn't really matter. I'm a musician myself. As you're sitting in between two drum sets right now.
Definitely.
So,
and I'm into metal and all sorts of music. I'm like I listen to too much music.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good problem to have.
Down to even a couple of country songs.
Okay, all right. I see you. I grew up in a very small town in Northeast Oregon, so I can get into some country from
sure.
time to time.
I'm from Eastern Oregon as well.
Oh, are you? What?
Yeah.
Okay, what town? We're gonna get a little country on you.
Christmas Valley.
Oh, you're from Christmas Valley, really?
Yes.
Okay. See, I'm way far north of that, but I've actually done some hunting down at Summer Lake.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been
good hunting out there.
Yep, been to the dunes and stuff like that out there at Christmas Valley, and what do they call it? Isn't there something out there called the Lost Forest that's just like a group of trees right in the middle of like a desert?
Black Forest.
The Black Forest.
Yeah, and then they have like crack in the ground, and that's pretty much it out there.
It's pretty barren.
Yeah.
I remember I was driving out there once, and we went through a town called Wagon Tire, and it was for sale.
Yep.
Is
it was it's the smallest town in Oregon, or at least it was when it had a population of 3.
Right. Mom, dad, and son, probably.
Yeah, definitely. And there's like there's a motel that's all shut down there, and when you stop there, there's like missing people's posters on there, and I'm like, okay, we got to get the hell out of Wagon Tire.
Right. It says because it's just one intersection. It's like you come to an intersection and it's there, and I remember seeing a post office and like an airstrip.
Yeah.
I was like, where are you guys flying to? Like, what are you doing here in Wagon Tire that you need to get a plane and get out? So it's sketchy, dude, to say the least. And the fact that it was for sale. There was a sign on the like entering Wagon Tire, population 3, and then right below it said town for sale.
Yep.
And I don't think it was a very high price tag either, to be honest.
I could buy a town.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine being the mayor of the town and also the chair of the city council, and I mean, you would get to be chair of everything, like you're chair of the water and electric board. You just get to do it all. You're the postmaster. Could you handle being the chief of police of your own town?
I definitely could.
Yeah? You going to rough some people up, or are you going to be one of those understanding guys that lets people party?
It depends,
It depends on how you party.
You cross a line at some point, like out in Medford, it's well known as Methford sometimes. So you cross that line in my town and you out.
I have to say about Medford, and I've said this 100 times already, but I get scolded for talking too much about the Donkey Show on this show, so I'll keep it short. But we were treated better in Medford as the Donkey Show than we were treated anywhere else. Medford as a city would come together, and like we would get picked up at the hotel by a shuttle bus. One time we walked out of Howie's on Front after a big party at Howie's, and somebody had just pulled a limousine up. Like, we didn't order it. We didn't know why it was there. And they're like, get in. And we're like, well, whose limo is this? And they're like, it's yours.
Yeah, your show was huge down there, man. I was a huge fan myself.
I appreciate it, dude. And I just want to say thanks to the people of Medford and the bar owners and the restaurant owners and hotels and everything. Every time we went down to that city, they treated us like we were royalty and put us up in clubs that we walked into this old, like, kind of run down like looking warehouse one day and up to the second floor, and there's this beautiful nightclub in it, and they put us at like a table in the middle of the dance floor and start handing us bottles of vodka. It was unbelievable to know what people that are actually celebrities live like for a night, even if it was in Medford. So hats off to that place. I love it. You know, I go down there for an In-N-Out burger. I did go camping on the Rogue River recently, and we mistakenly chose Valley of the Rogue State Park right there on I-5. And a homeless guy in a wheelchair, he wheeled his way into our campground really, really late and tried to bum a smoke.
Awesome.
Which is not good when I've just been sitting by the fire drinking beer and smoking weed for 2 hours. That's terrifying.
Now is not the time.
Exactly. So, but I love Medford, man. Real big soft spot for Medford.
Yeah, unfortunately, Howie's on Front is now closed, and that's actually the building I book for these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's now the Ghostlight Playhouse.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You've got Ghostlight Playhouse. You're doing a show pretty much every single Monday there, and you've been booking comedians from obviously down in Medford. I know you booked some guys from up here, Seth Milstein and Tyler Jones.
Yep.
Are you booking guys from California? Is there a lot of people coming through?
So I've booked Dustin Wood from Northern California, and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I've booked him twice now. You know, he'd come and glam up the show for me, you know.
That's awesome.
I've booked all the way up to Portland, Jake Silberman. I'm wearing his shirt today.
I see that. It's nice.
And I've done one show last night with him, but that was Freeway Ferrell's show. And then he came down a few weeks ago for the show in Medford there.
So you're getting a pretty good run of comedians, it seems like, throughout the state of Oregon and even into California.
Yep.
That's really good, dude.
I'm trying to expand further than that. We're waiting for the restaurant to open and the bar and our OLCC license there. And as soon as we have that, you know, it's going to be every Monday for sure.
That's awesome. So as it sits right now, like what kind of capacity can you have in there?
Right now, it's 0 at the very moment. But before, when we were having a crowd, it was only 24.
Okay, but still, I mean, look, 24 people in a room that's that size is a good, especially if they're all there. Like, you figure people are going to that show in particular to watch comedy. They're not out to do anything else that night.
Yeah.
24 people can make a very solid crowd if they're there for what you're doing. So I think that's great, man. I mean, don't even get me started about the fact that the state of Oregon shut down right now. I mean, that makes me want to pull some teeth out and not mine.
The first couple of them actually were just live on the internet. We were just we were on their stage. There's a professional 3-camera setup in there.
Wow.
So they hit angles during the show. They have someone in the control room and everything. It's really professional over there.
That's awesome. How successful were the online shows? Did you have quite a few people come into the stream?
They have what's called the Best Seat Club, and as far as I know right now, there's close to 100 subscribers. They pay $10 monthly to watch every show that the Ghostlight Playhouse puts out. Okay,
that's cool. And is it just ghostlightplayhouse.com is a place where the listeners can go look that up? Dude, check it out. If you're down there in Medford, I mean, look, it's not very often that you come by a show that's going to be local comedians and comedians from the state doing like a feature and a headliner every single week. A lot of times if you're wanting to see comedy, you're going to open mics every single week. So
yeah, I'm trying to build a community, you know, something that Southern Oregon has lacked over the years. Like, I love all of the comedians out there, but we haven't, you know, all been together in the same room a lot, you know? So, and also giving people who haven't done it a chance to do it, you know?
Right.
I'm new. So I book my own show. I can get on stage, you know, I can hit 10 minutes and get better every time.
That's awesome. So let's go to that as a kind of a perfect segue. Did Ghostlight Playhouse get you into stand-up comedy, or did stand-up comedy get you into wanting to book for the Ghostlight Playhouse?
Stand-up got me into booking for the Playhouse. I've been booking comedy since 2017. I kind of switched it up from hip-hop to comedy. You know, comedians are a lot easier to work with.
You don't say?
Yeah. So I made the switch in 2017, booked a few shows at a couple of bars that have since closed. And I'd just been looking for a solid place that wants to work, you know, and the Ghostlight Playhouse is that place.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, it's a great venue, dude. And I mean, I'm sad to hear that Howie's is closed, but I'm super stoked to hear that you're doing something with that space, because especially when they opened up that kind of second half over there, where I think that's probably where the Playhouse is.
The restaurant's going to open on the regular Howie side, and then the performance side is where we're performing at the moment. That's where the theater is.
Very cool. That's awesome. We had we did an event down there, and I think Carl's band We Have Guns came down and played at that. I think right after they opened it. It was like one of the first performances in that spot, and once again, just an awesome spot. The alley out back, even. I mean, we threw parties out there before. So you
Johnny B's is at the end of the alley, so you got 2 bars in the same alley. You're gonna have a party out there.
Hell yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Lots of weed being smoked and whatnot.
Man, the guys down in Medford were always really good about the weed. There was
it's plentiful.
Yeah, there was I feel like there was a clothing brand down there. I Happy. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, they're still out there. They have a little warehouse out there. They're still doing something.
Yeah.
I know that they're still out there grinding. So
a kid came up at one time and had one of the guys from the show sign his I Happy hat, and it looked like a nice custom hat. And like all of us were like, dude, we just ruined that hat for you.
Now you can't wear it.
Yeah, exactly.
I had someone, I don't even remember who it was, but they signed my hat and I never wore it again. And I was like, but I just bought it.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't have anything else for the dude to sign.
Yeah,
you know?
There's no way to ruin a good hat like getting it autographed by somebody. I had Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio autograph one of my favorite hats at Warped Tour when I was a kid. But I thought twice about it, and I flipped it upside down and had him sign under the bill. And so I got a lot of mileage out of that hat, but that's the only one. And please, don't ever ask radio guys or podcasters to autograph anything, because you're just taking value out of it.
Right, yeah.
That's great. Well, okay, so we've got the Ghost Light. So talk about your stand-up. Like, how did you get started doing stand-up? Because you've mentioned to me a couple of times now that you're new, but you don't feel new on stage. I've seen you perform just the once, but you've got plenty of stage presence. You can tell that you're comfortable behind the microphone. What got you started, and why are you out here doing stand-up?
So when I was 14 years old, I entered a talent contest at my local church that I went to, and so basically I entered the contest and I decided I'm going to tell blonde jokes to a sea of gray. I ended up winning at 14. I was very proud of that, and then eventually when I was, I believe, 19, I hit the stage again and then years in between, and then 2017 is when I kind of started taking it seriously, and then after a while, COVID hit, and I've actually performed more during COVID than any other time. So
that's pretty awesome. There's not a lot of comedians that can say that. I've had a few of them in here, and that's not the case for any of them. So
yeah,
that's great.
I had a pretty horrendous bomb in 2017 and 2018. I had a really horrendous bomb, and I didn't recover from it for a while. So it was something else.
Okay, so I mean, well, let's talk about it, because I think every comedian out there can relate to this. And anybody that wants to try comedy, just understand that this is in your future. It sucks when it happens, and sometimes it's hard to get over, but it happens to absolutely everybody that tries it.
I'm used to it now.
Yeah.
It happens. It really does.
So describe that night.
Okay, so they had a burlesque show before my show.
Okay.
They didn't inform me of this, so I went up with the set list that I already had. And it included a joke that went like this. There's this rapper, Young Thug, and he did this video called Married to the Game, where he wore a wedding dress. And I just thought to myself, how I know he doesn't have any friends since all that money hit? No one leaned in and said, how about a tux? And all the cross-dressers and stuff in the room did not like that.
I can imagine.
And I learned to read my audience that night.
Yeah.
And it hasn't failed me since. Reading the audience is definitely something that you need to learn early.
Yeah, it is. How bad did they turn on you?
Crickets.
Okay.
Straight up.
So they didn't boo, though?
I heard an audible, oh, hell no.
And three snaps.
Yeah, exactly. Followed by absolute crickets, including my friends, for 5 minutes.
Oh man, because they're not going to fall on the sword for you right there.
It's one of the worst bombs that you could have.
Dude, that's wicked, man. I I've been through them before. You know, we used to do a gong show at a college grind time bar on Monday nights, and I can't count the number of times that I bombed at that show.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just, it sucks when you get up there and you have that realization that, okay, this isn't going to be a good one.
Right.
Because it, you know, the professional in you and the, you know, the person that wants to grind this out and make something of it in you is going to say, no, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to plow right through this.
Right.
When the comedian in you that wants to be funny is probably like, no, just lean into the fact that they hate you. Like, that sounds
there
fun.
You go.
But that's also a recipe for
self-deprecation.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to be careful there, too, because sometimes, you can go the self-deprecating route. Or you were at an open mic with me just a couple of weeks ago where a young lady decided to go the fight the audience route, if you remember. And you can go that route, too. And I've never seen anybody throw a mic at a table before until the other night. And I was really surprised about it because this woman was comfortable on stage. She had some stage presence.
Right.
She had a good voice, and she was out there, and you were hearing what she had to say. But then she thought that somebody in the audience talked some shit to her, which, okay, that happens at every show ever, so just be prepared for it and let it bounce off. But she got combative with that audience member, and then a guy tried to throw her a bone. She has this beautiful, long, flowing, dark hair, right? And it's up there and it's lit up in the lights, and the guy goes, "Tell us about your hair." And she goes, "Oh, you want to know about my hair? Well, I regrew that after I had cancer." And it was just like, like she was shooting every opportunity to bring it back in the chest every single time. And then at the end of the set, she threw the mic at a table of 4 people and walked off stage.
That was after I left, huh?
Oh, okay. That's right. So you weren't there.
I had to get back. I wish I would have been there.
Dude, so basically what happened was she dared her friend to go up and do comedy, who her friend had a little bit of experience before.
I did catch the ass end of that on my way out.
Yep, and then basically she kind of, after her friend was like, "I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to be up here anymore, I'm going to go ahead and say thanks and get off the stage," she like shot up there before Chaz, the host of the show, could get up there and grab the mic and was like, "I'm going." And he was kind of like, "You didn't sign up, bitch," you know. But he didn't say that. Guy, he's a lot better than I would have been because I would have just taken the mic from her.
Chaz is an awesome guy.
You could kind of tell that this was headed this direction because she was when she had dared her friend to go up, and there were some people kind of talking in front of the stage, and she was sitting back behind where I was at. And she walked all the way across the room and was like, you know, you're sitting there listening to the jokes, and all of a sudden you hear somebody go, "Hey!" And you look over, and it's her, and she's scolding a table full of people for talking during her friend's set. And I'm like, you know, you can ruin your own set. You don't have to ruin your friend's set,
right.
You know? But it's the audience at a comedy show, and it's not always like on a Monday night open mic, unfortunately, especially in downtown Eugene. Not everybody in that bar is going to be there to listen to comedy.
Nope.
In
they're
fact,
there to drink.
Yeah, they're there to drink, and they think that they've got every bit of talent that you do and more. And so if it was just give them the mic, they could go up there and do a better job. The only problem is that Disney movie never plays out.
That never does, dude.
That guy never gets the mic and shits the bed and gets booed off stage.
That's why it's one of the oldest tricks in the book. You got a heckler, offer them the microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not going to take it.
Fuck no.
They're not going to take. They don't have anything written down. You know how hard I work on this stuff?
Exactly.
Like, and here was the kicker on that show, though. Like, I was the host, so that was my first time out on the stage. I had to go back out.
Oh my God!
Minutes.
You had to keep going out there and hanging your chin out.
There, yeah.
Oh my God!
And I had like 5 comedians on the show, so I was out there 6 times in total.
I'm surprised you weren't just announcing them from behind the curtain like an MC, right?
Right. Nope. I hit the stage like I was supposed to, you know?
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Well, it just shows you're a professional. So talk to me about Slap Happy Comedy and Slap Happy Media, because this is another thing that you've got going on, and you told me that you've had that going for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, I've been doing, you know, film type things for close to 10 years as well. Weed and film kind of went hand in hand. I kind of started working in both the industries at the same time and doing weed skits, weed-related shows. You know, I had a show called Munchie Gang that ran probably 6 episodes in total.
And it was just the best munchies you can have while on weed?
It was basically me and my friend would get stoned and then go to a food truck and try their food. And it was like a diners, drive-ins, and dives with weed in it.
That's great. I mean, I love Guy Fieri, don't get me wrong, but I would watch yours first,
Yeah. So we went to the first day of the In-N-Out opening in Medford and stood in line for an hour and a half for a burger.
God, just lose your buzz right there standing in line. Could you at least toke up a little bit in line?
We didn't for the video, legalities and whatnot. We smoked heavily beforehand, yeah. And we had plenty of fun in the line. It was actually one of the better videos that we made because we were just stoned and being stupid. And I'd never tried In-N-Out before, so it was a new experience for me.
Okay, so tell me what you thought about it because, being an Oregon boy, all you hear about is In-N-Out from everybody that you've ever met from California.
Right.
I went to the University of Oregon, never had even heard the name In-N-Out before until I ended up in the dorms with a bunch of California people that told me that I didn't know what good fast food was. Right. It's like, motherfucker, I didn't know what fast food was. I grew up in Enterprise, Oregon. We had a Dairy Queen for 3 months, and it shut down. But, I have some feelings about In-N-Out, which I'll share after you do because I don't want to taint the conversation.
Right.
Tell me how your first experience was.
So I said on the video, actually, that the burger is really good. It really is it serves its purpose. It's got 2 pieces of cheese, 2 pieces of meat, some of the sauce, Not too much more than that. I'm down. But the fries really need some work, man.
Right? I was really disappointed in the fries too. My burger, I'm a vanilla cheeseburger dude. Like if you want me to get crazy, blue cheese and bacon, I can swing that. But I like a good cheeseburger with some burger sauce and some pickles. I'm not even an onion and tomato guy. Like I go pretty vanilla on my burger, and I felt like at In-N-Out, they do a good job on that. That plain burger, that plain cheeseburger, whatever. But I looked over at my wife's who's got it like toasted animal style or whatever crazy secret menu shit. And I'm like, see, that's what they want you to do. They don't want you to come in here and just order this plain bullshit. Nope. They want you to dress it up. And because
Google it.
Yeah. Because I'm not that guy, I feel like I kind of miss out on what In-N-Out is about to begin with, you know? And therefore, I'm left with the fries, which are lacking at best.
As the vanilla cheeseburger guy, as you call it, do you like smash burgers?
I do. It depends for me. I don't like a burger that totally greases through the bottom bun.
Right.
And I find a lot of smash burgers, because the size can kind of vary, they kind of get a little bit soggy. But I actually made some. Dude, I went down and bought I spent way too much money on a 1.5 pound ribeye steak and had them grind it up for me at the
That's the
butcher.
Way to do it.
Yeah, and then I went and got some sirloin ground at the supermarket, and I mixed those together and made smash burgers. You get that fat content right in there, dude, and it gets that charred, that charred crust on the edge.
You know what they call that?
I don't.
They call that the Maillard effect.
The Maillard effect.
Yeah. So basically, it causes these crunchy crevices. So when you flip it and put the cheese on it just melts through the crevices, but keeps its crunchy consistency.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's called the Maillard effect.
Okay, I know that science is delicious, and so I respect that.
Yeah.
Food science is the best kind, and yeah, I mean, I do like a smash burger. I'm not necessarily the guy that likes a big, thick burger either, unless it's done right. I mean, I'll eat anything, as long as there's not too much vegetables in it.
Right. I'm a fan of the vegetables myself, but my girlfriend definitely is not into it. So I try, but
Yeah. I'm a meat guy. I always have been, and make fun of that, tweet it, do whatever, screenshot it.
Meat
yeah,
guy.
I'm a meat guy, but
it's gonna be a T-shirt.
when I met my wife, she was actually in a very small portion of her life. I don't want to paint her with a broad brush and say she was like this forever.
You put the wife in there right after you said meat guy.
Yeah. So got to make sure and cover my tracks here. But she was going through a vegan portion of her life where her and her college roommate had decided they're going to do vegan. And I, at the time, I think I remember a couple weeks after we started dating, she was living in Monmouth, Oregon, and I was living down here in Eugene. And I called her and she's like, what are you doing? She's making a salad. They're having dinner, at their dorm or whatever. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I just made some spaghetti sauce with ground antelope.
Fancy.
Yeah, exactly. But I had, because, my family, we're all hunters. And that year in particular.
In Eastern Oregon.
Yeah, exactly. we'd gotten lucky. My dad had taken down an antelope and sent some meat. I had elk and deer in the fridge and duck at that point in time.
Right.
And I told her, you know, real early on in our relationship, I was like, I don't care what you eat. Just understand that you have less than zero chance of convincing me to do what you do.
No,
you know,
that's never happening.
It's never happening. And I mean, look, I love the health benefits and everything. A lot of people you hear talk about elk. It's all about the protein to fat content and how lean it is. Dude, you can do some amazing, very flavorful shit with elk meat if you know what you're doing.
Can.
And that's what I like to do about it. I'll throw you an elk burger chili. They call it Marcus's Thunder from Down Under chili.
Oh, I'm down.
Dude, it's hot, it's spicy, but I'll tell you, that elk burger adds a certain smokiness to it that you just can't get with beef.
Right.
And, you know, my wife, bless her heart, she leaned into that vegan thing for a few more weeks after getting to know me, but after that, I was like, let me just make you dinner once. And I made her something, you know, I don't even remember whether it was live game or whether it was a wild game or not, but it pulled her out of that vegan thing, and now she's just like me. I mean, we had ribeye last night, you know? It's like, I'm all about that life.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, see, it's one of those things I know probably isn't the healthiest choice for me. I know a lot of people about my age and a little bit older are getting to that point in life where they're, you know, maybe they stopped drinking beer, or maybe they stopped, you know, drinking hard A, or maybe they cut sugar out of the diet. I know that sooner or later a doctor's going to tell me that I need to do that, but I haven't hit that point in like my psyche yet where I can agree with it and be okay with it, you know?
Okay.
It's like, what's a couple more years at the end of my life? I'm not going to enjoy that time anyway, you know?
That's how I feel.
I want to be able to eat steak while I can still chew it. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
because right at 30 is when your teeth start going.
Exactly.
Isn't that awesome?
Exactly.
You know?
Gotta love it. I'm still, and I'm holding on to this record. Like, it's just one of the things I hold the most near and dear to myself. One cavity my entire life, and it grew under the glue of my braces. So I had no chance to prevent it. And luckily, I still get good. My wife manages a dental office. So it's
there
like,
you go. That helps.
Yeah, it helps. And it also is one of those things where, like, you can't go in there and fuck around because she's going to know, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I'm pretty proud of my teeth. And I think that that's one of the main driving factors between keeping them healthy is being able to eat meat well into my 70s and 80s.
There you go.
Know?
That's a main goal right there.
You got to have them. You got to have those food goals. So that brings me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. We did say in the opener we're going to talk about some food stuff. You had started a little company called Chef'd Up right at the beginning of 2020. January 2020, you said.
Yeah, my timing's not very good.
Hey, nobody could have seen it coming, dude. January 2020, I was still cruising, man. It wasn't until about... March that the shit hit the fan?
March 16th is when I got booted out of the kitchen of my second job.
Oh, God. Okay, so you were working another job, but you started Chef'd Up, and just tell me what it is and take me through the story.
So it was what they call now a virtual kitchen, and I was working out of a commercial kitchen out of Medford, and we would basically cook the food to order and then deliver it ourselves. So when COVID hit, all the big guys had those millions of dollars to budget and say, hey, we deliver, you know, and I can't outmarket McDonald's.
Right. Who can?
So eventually it kind of just fizzled out and, you know, the fires happened and then I was able to hop back into the kitchen to help, you know, feed people.
Okay.
So I got a little bit more time in the kitchen on that one, but it was ultimately a losing battle.
Yeah.
So
well, it's a bummer because I thought it was a really cool idea. Are you trained at all as like a chef, or have you worked in, you know, kitchens? Obviously, you said you were working in a kitchen, so you've done like maybe some line cooking and stuff like that.
I started in the dish pit, just like, you know, if you don't go to culinary school, then you start in the dish pit, and that's just how it goes. So I started in the dish pit and slowly worked my way up to line cook, and then I felt comfortable enough to open my own business where I cook the food and design the menu.
That's awesome.
And that's what Chef'd Up was.
So tell me some of the stuff, because I remember seeing it on social media at the beginning, and I remember, like, I hadn't met you yet. You and I hadn't connected. The podcast hadn't started. But I remember seeing you post stuff on Facebook and going, I fucking want that. Like, I want to eat that. How do I get that? And then I looked up. It's like, damn it, it's in Medford. I don't think he'll bring it up here.
Yeah, I mean, you know? a serious delivery fee would be in order, and it might be cold.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, how much would it cost you? Just, hey, come up here, make it in my kitchen, and then you can drive back down. So, what type of stuff like were you offering? What kind of specialties? What's your And I do have a question about something else that we talked about, so don't give up what we're going to talk about as far as tailgating. But what are some of your specials that you had for Chef'd Up, because they looked fucking awesome, dude?
So I had I started out with my Cuban sandwich because I make Cuban bread from scratch. And the thing that makes it Cuban bread is not a lot of people know this. There's 2 different applications of yeast when you make Cuban bread.
Okay.
Another difference is that you use lard in the bread. So,
I like it. Anytime you put lard into stuff, it starts to get my attention.
There you go. You got to put that fat, that rendered fat in there, and people are paying attention. But I make really good Cuban bread. So I was like, let's make a Cuban sandwich. And that's what we kind of came out with. And then I made this chicken bowl. It's like grilled Mexican seasoned chicken, elote corn mix. So it's just deconstructed elote, if I can use that deconstructed little moniker on it. And then guacamole, all made from scratch. I really worked hard to bake every single piece of bread that came out of that kitchen and make sure everything was from scratch.
And that's not
down
easy.
To the sauce.
That's not easy, man. I mean, even just getting all that shit together and to do that for one meal for your family at home is like kind of a journey. And so doing it for like on any type of scale is got to be just nuts.
Some days I'd work 16 hours easy.
God damn.
And then
labor of love though,
days,
right?
Other days I'd work 8 hours and then go work 8 hours at my second job.
Yeah. So, but you enjoyed that time in the kitchen. It wasn't something you felt like
therapeutic for me. I just jam and cook.
Yeah.
You know, and it's my favorite place.
That's awesome.
Other than the stage.
Okay.
It's my favorite place.
All right. Well, I mean, you make some pretty good Cuban jokes on stage too. I'll tell you that. Just kidding. He doesn't jump into the Cuban. You're not hitting the Cubans or any other people hard. You're great as far as your comedy goes. I don't want to sell it as if you're saying things you shouldn't be on stage because there's a lot of sensitivity out there right now. So
yeah, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
So I asked you because of your history in the kitchen. Are you good? Do you need to take a break real quick before we get into this?
We could do that.
We could take a break.
Another beer.
That's kind of what I was thinking. My beer's getting a little bit low. We're going to take a quick break. It's the Man Room Podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned while we grab a refill. The Man Room continues next. Grab a drink. This is the Man Room.
Welcome back into the Man Room. Our cups are full. I'm hanging out with Nick Lanier, and we are just talking about one of my favorite subjects in the world, which is food. Mm-hmm. And I just so happen to see, I haven't taken my culinary experience or made the jump into like being a professional. Now, I was a waiter at Applebee's.
Nice.
Which, no, not really. That was my part-time gig that got me through. I was able to do the Donkey Show in a part-time fashion because of that Applebee's job. And other than that, I learned nothing, came away with a few friends, but that was about it. I always admired the cooks. I felt like what they were doing looked like it was a lot more fun than what I was doing, but they also all really hated everything and everybody. And so I couldn't tell if that was just
that's
person.
That's being a corporate line cook.
Okay, there you go. So that's good to know that because I liked a lot of those people. They were really nice to me.
I've done that as well. It's not fun. I cooked for a truck stop.
Oh, God. I can only imagine. What are they? Change the oil and rotate the tires. It's like bacon and eggs or some shit.
Yeah,
right?
but not only that, they're this company with 400 stores, but they can't put more than one line cook in the kitchen at a time.
Oh, God. So you're just always just swamped.
Yeah, swamped. Straight up railed, line to line, dude.
And it's the only thing in a restaurant that really pisses people off automatically every time is having to wait too long for their food. So you start out 10 leagues behind the race.
Oh,
basically.
yeah, and then they'd straight up start a clock. They're like, you got 12 minutes.
Oh, God. I will burn this place to the ground in 12 minutes.
That's what we would say. No, what I'd say to the waitresses is, stagger the tickets a little bit. I'm overwhelmed here, and if I hear another motherfucking ticket print, I'm gone.
There you go. Okay, so that's exactly what I heard from a lot of those people behind the Applebee's line. So, but I've never done any like professional cooking. My biggest adventure in that space is going to be that I have, like I said, been a season ticket holder for the Ducks over the last 10 years, and we tailgate very, very religiously. And since pretty much now all of my friends that come to the duck games have all moved out of Eugene, this house, not only this house and this room in general, hosts a lot of people during duck season, and I am the guy that's kind of taken the responsibility on of cooking. Right. And I've done some really great things. I think I've gotten some really high praise from the people. I told you about that chili that I made, the Marcus's Thunder from Down Under. I'm a chili champ for that. I won a ribbon one year to chili cook-off for first place for that shit. I was using elk burger, and once again, I think that you can't replicate that with beef, so that's why I won.
No, you can't.
And the one guy put just Nally chili in a crock pot, and he got second place. So
I was
also not like super confident in the flavor palette, but
that's hilarious.
I do tri-tip. I really enjoy tri-tip. I do burgers. You know, my wife and I. One of the things that really hit is I got a mandolin a couple years ago, and I started making potato chips.
Oh, yeah.
And I fry up potato chips out there, and people can't get enough of them. Literally the easiest thing that I make, and people want more of that than anything else. But
watch out for that mandolin, though. You know, I've
do.
seen some horrendous injuries from those things.
I'm so scared of it that I'll waste a good half an inch to an inch of every potato that I cut.
Do you have the guard?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
it's a little
use
guard.
that every time.
I do, and it's, the only problem with it is I also get to the point is I like really sharp cutting instruments, and so if I hear the plastic hit the blade of the plastic of the guard hit the blade, I just throw the rest of the potato away because I don't want to dull my blade.
There you go.
I want to be able to take a finger off with it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to take a finger off with it. But
for sure.
you know, so I have a lot of experience in just cooking for, let's say, 20 to 30 people. Don't really know what everybody's taste is, but going to try to do something down the middle. Like I said, I've done tri-tip. We used to go down to Mucho Gusto and get their awesome taco shells because they'll make them like 20 for like $1.
Okay.
And they give them to you, and then we would do all the taco fix. I have taco bar. We've done like baked potato bars out there and stuff. I've gotten crazy with it. I've had a lot of fun with it, but I thought somebody like you that had a lot of experience cooking for a lot of different people would have like maybe a really cool idea. So what I posed to you a couple days ago, I said, dude, if I decided to make you my honorary chef at a Ducks game, let's say we got Washington in late November.
Oh, shit.
Playoffs are on the line. Okay, we hate the fucking Huskies at Autzen Stadium.
And it'd be my first Ducks game, too.
Okay, so we're getting closer and closer to making this actually happen as a reality. So all you got to do here is impress me, and we're going. Okay, like I'll even put you up for the night. I got a room and everything. So
yeah, I have a full mobile kitchen.
Oh,
so like
damn.
I have a smoker, I have a flat top, I have an outdoor fryer, I have, stainless steel tables.
That's amazing. See, I just burned myself and the plastic tables that I have.
Right. And I bring it all. I would bring it all. I would make, something like smoked wings.
Okay.
Okay. You smoke them for a little bit and then you fry them the rest of the way, get that crispiness.
Oh, yeah.
And then I make this habanero honey butter.
Ooh.
From scratch. That's a big one. That was my first wing sauce that I came up with myself.
Okay.
And,
so nice and spicy, but still got a little bit of richness and smoothness to it.
Yeah, it's got the honey for sure behind it.
Okay.
It's really delicious. And then I make the slaw that is carrot and celery.
Love
with
it.
a homemade blue cheese dressing. And I'm not a huge blue cheese fan, but Rogue Creamery blue cheese.
Yeah.
It's the best in the world. Literally, they won the World Cheese Cup. They're the first American cheese to ever do that.
The first American blue cheese to ever win that.
The
Wow.
first American cheese.
Oh, wow. Period.
Like nothing from Wisconsin. No, Rogue Creamery blue cheese is the first one to win that.
That's amazing.
And Bobby Flay uses it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like Bobby Flay. He's a little too handsome for my taste. It's like, you have to be that good of a cook and that good looking?
Yeah, he's a hero. He's winning it for all of us.
Okay, so we've got the smoked wings, which I love because here's the deal. You didn't know you were going to steal my heart, but I'm a huge wing fan. I don't make the best wings. I don't make the best wings, so I let my buddy Andy, who he has a great wing recipe that he uses. I always let him handle the wings at the tailgate. But I love, because we're also, most of the time, if you're going to come to my tailgate, what you're going to get is like a Frank's medium or like a Frank's wing sauce. Like you're not going to get a lot of depth in the flavor of the sauce, and so the habanero honey butter just sounds out of this world to me.
Yeah. It's something. It's delicious, seriously, and it's got the heat to it because I use 10 habaneros in the recipe.
God damn.
So it's not for play.
That's crazy.
But lastly, I would I would bring my mom's potato salad.
Okay.
Which I'm the only other holder of this recipe, but it is the best in the world, ranked by me.
Yeah.
I look forward to Thanksgiving specifically just for the potato salad.
That's awesome, man. That's great. So, I love those family recipes that go way back, dude. I have a couple of them.
They're like the bullet in the chamber, man.
Yep.
Like if you're a chef and you got some home recipes that mom or grandma made, you're going to kill them, man, every time.
Dude, it's, it's funny for Thanksgiving that you mentioned that, because one of my mom's recipes that I always make is for Thanksgiving. And, you see, like, my wife will put so much work into the turkey and so much work into stuffing and all these different sides. And I've always done, it's like, I'm going to make mom's twice-baked potatoes.
There you go.
And they're the worst thing on the menu as far as nutrition factors go. It's nothing but butter and sour cream and cheese and potatoes. They're pretty easy, except for the fact that sometimes I burn myself when I'm digging the potato out of the hot baked skin.
Yeah, you definitely will.
But other than that, it's like I don't really put much effort into these, and people will sit there at the table and be like, oh my God, these potatoes. It's like, that bird has been literally in preparation for 38 hours now or something like that.
At least you didn't say green bean casserole.
I mean, everybody's got one of those, right? Come on. And look, here's the deal. If you make a green bean casserole and you're not doing it out of the can, I don't want it. Okay, but make that shit. I want French's. I want the cream of mushroom soup.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, that's how I know it. So
America.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so your mom's potato salad. We're having the celery carrot slaw with the Rogue Creamery award-winning blue cheese dressing.
Yep.
And then we've got the hot wings, dude. I like it. I like it.
And if I'm feeling a little more fancy, I do brisket really well. Some pickled red onions and homemade chipotle barbecue sauce that I rock out to.
So how long are you cooking a brisket for? Because I know that's sometimes like an 8-12 hour ordeal.
I would definitely be there at 4 a.m.
That's one of the tougher parts about tailgating is that it just changed. They used to only give us 4 hours before kick.
Right.
So if you're smoking something, you gotta do half of it at home and hope that you can get either the smoker to the tailgate area and use it there, or maybe finish the smoke and then do the rest of the cook at the tailgate. Now they give us 6 hours. Okay. Which is better, but it's not enough to do a brisket, unfortunately.
Well, what I would do is, old restaurant trick, basically cook it the day before.
Yeah.
Then put it in the smoker an hour before. Don't put any smoke on it. Just let it heat up again.
Warm it up.
And then it's good to go.
Okay.
Brisket's very forgiving.
See, it's all these little tricks that I don't know, because you say brisket's very forgiving. You give it to me, I'll fuck it up. I'm not even messing around.
If you're sitting pretty at 250, like I like to say.
Okay.
250 degrees. You don't need to go any higher or lower, but it's a bitch keeping my smoker at 250 the whole time. So I'm up every hour checking that thing.
Damn, that's one hell of a night, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta make a confession here, because I just bought into the world of smokers here recently, but I got myself a Traeger that I can control from my phone.
Perfect.
And, dude, I was at Albertsons the other day, and I was like, wonder how that's doing. And I looked it up. I was like, oh, a little hot. And I,
turn
it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, that's great. I'm using the technology and everything. But I feel like in terms of talent, like somebody like you that gets up and checks it every hour knows so much more about what's going on in there than someone like me who's like, what's my app say?
It gets pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And you smell like a campfire the next day, which in Oregon, we don't want to smell that anymore.
No, dude. Everybody smelled like that for 3 months last fall.
Yeah.
Like, please stop it.
Yeah.
So, dude, we, you know what? Gonna wrap this up here before we go too much longer. But we were kind of BSing off the mic. And like I said, I don't talk. I try. I shouldn't say I don't. I do. I talk about the Donkey Show a lot on this podcast. I don't do it because I want to relive the glory days so much, even though we had a lot of fun. And it was a great time. But it's one of the reasons that I was able to start this podcast. If I hadn't done that show, I wouldn't have the connections that I have to get the people in here that I've been able to get.
Right.
And through that, I've been able to meet some people like you, who I met you because of the podcast and because of stand-up comedy. And what it turns out is that you were a really big Donkey Show fan back in the day.
Yeah.
And you were following along with that show from its very outset, all the way up until it ended in 2015. And I just... First of all, would like to thank you, because I don't get to look too many fans like that in the face anymore.
Right.
And I know I speak for Tanner and Drew and Carl and all the rest of the guys that were a part of the show, that it's fans like you that made it worth doing, because we still feel like we have the best fans out there.
Yeah.
And it always made it fun because of people like you and because of places like Medford, like we say. So, but I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that, and I don't want to steal that thunder from you. So,
well, Throbbit Slap Happy, check it in.
Throbbit Slap Happy, and
that would have been the name.
For anybody that doesn't know, because I know there's some people out there that didn't get to listen to the Donkey Show, we called our listeners Throbbits. That term came from a Lord of the Rings sex, like porn parody.
Yeah.
And rather than calling them hobbits, they called them Throbbits.
Which also is very hilarious. If you have a chance, Pornhub is there.
Oh, God. It might be one of the worst casted porn movies that I've ever seen.
It's the only porno I've ever watched and went, I don't want to jerk off right now. I don't.
Glad to know you've got such a wide compass.
Yeah, for sure.
So you were listening to it when you were you were a little bit younger, maybe 16 about the time that started.
Yeah, that was around the first bits of me writing my own material was around 16. I had depression issues, and basically it was a coping mechanism. And I would just tune into the Donkey Show and write down whatever crazy idea came to my mind.
Yeah.
And I actually came across some of the notes a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, God, none of this would make it to the stage. None of it. Not a one of it. Nothing.
But at least you still have it. So you know where you started. Like, being able to have where you started on paper is pretty cool.
I'm pretty crazy about keeping my papers. I have several boxes of just notebooks that have random nonsense written on them. And every once in a while I'll go through the couple of boxes and I'll go all the way back to 2006,
That's crazy.
And I still have notes,
Well, I love hearing too that it got you through something. Like, that's something that some people would tell us, like, hey, you got me through my divorce, or hey, listening to you guys gets me just through a work day. That was always something that I really enjoyed, and it's something that I kind of fiend for this podcast as well. Because one thing about being a guy like me is, like, I told my dad when I was like 16, he asked me, he's like, what do you want to do? Like, you're getting close. You're a couple years from being out there on your own. What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do radio. And he's like, that they don't get always paid the best to just go in there and just turn music over. He didn't think I was going like talk show.
Right.
But I was like, I don't care. I'll make $16,000 a year for the rest of my life if I can do what I want to do.
There you go.
And there's a few different things in your life that'll teach you real quick, like the bank and the IRS, that's not the most feasible mindset to have.
But when you love something, it's a calling. You have to do it.
Right.
You have to do it. Otherwise, you are going to be a depressed mess the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. And spent some years doing that. Look, I really enjoyed my time in the cannabis industry, but I have not been as happy as I've been since I started this podcast for the 5 prior years. And I was working in the cannabis industry the whole time. That doesn't mean it's the cannabis industry's fault. I met a ton of great people. I networked with a ton of great businesses. There's a ton of great products out there that I got to partake in, but it wasn't me. It wasn't Marcus, And so I just want to tell you how, and really the only reason that I even wanted us to really talk about this on this program is because it's another chance for me to tell you, like, how much it means that you still hold those experiences near and dear, and you still even think about the Donkey Show once in a while because, for Tanner, Drew, and myself, Tanner and Drew now just, of course, killing it up in Portland and doing exactly as well as everybody knew that they would. I didn't get as fortunate to kind of follow that dream, and now I'm in a place in my life where I'm able to do that with, a fair amount of risk involved, but also a supportive partner that my wife's like, now or never, you might as well try it. And so here we are. So, dude, thank you very much for bringing that stuff to my attention because you won't know this, but like, I'll think about that for a few days and it'll just make me smile. So I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. And I mean, I wish that they still had the ensemble type of radio show, like they got Bob and Tom, but other than that, it's like far and few between, man.
It's rough, dude. And, we saw that going back way, way back. I mean, way before Tanner even left the show after he was, unceremoniously fired and there was a lawsuit.
That was a lot of drama, man. I listened in on that too,
It was crazy. It was unbelievable. This was the first time I'd ever taken my girlfriend at the time to Las Vegas. It was just her and I, couples trip. We were super stoked. Going to go party and have a good time, dress to the nines and hit the clubs and everything. And then 3 hours before my flight took off, it was, hey, Tanner's fired. And when you come back from Vegas, you're going to be the host.
Oh,
it's like,
shit.
Wait, nobody fucking ran that by me when I booked this trip because I would cancel it right now. Like,
yeah.
I've got a weekend of sweating to do. But, it worked out, and we got a couple more years out of it. I don't feel personally that anybody outside of that room ever, and actually it was Kirk who was on the show with Drew and I that said this to me the other day, and it rang so true. I don't think anybody outside of that room that worked for that company really knew what they had. And we always felt like we knew exactly what we had, and we wanted them to understand it.
You guys would joke about it constantly.
Constantly. And the thing is like, one of the reasons you joke about that type of stuff is just to see if you get a reaction, because if you don't, it means
really
they're not listening, you know? And that was a tough part, too, is like, look, we know this isn't for you, but it's for a lot of people.
Right.
You know, that goddamn Facebook page that they took from us had 20,000 followers, and between the time that they told us we could keep it and we wrote our goodbye speech on there, they changed the password and took it from us. So for anybody that didn't hear that part of the story, there's a reason that just went away, and it was because they went back on their word. And, you can tell I hold a little bit of a grudge. I don't want to beat a dead horse. More than anything, I just wanted to say we appreciate you, and it's people like you that we did it for. So
right, and I appreciated you guys too, like for real.
Well, and now you and I get to work together in a completely different capacity, which is awesome, which is stand-up comedy. It's an open mic tonight. Talk about this a little bit. Seth Milstein, who was on episode 6 of the podcast, is doing an open mic night every Monday right now at Slice Pizza here in Eugene. You can go down there and check it out. It's a great space. It's outdoors. It's open air. It's socially distanced and all that bullshit that matters now. But the point is it's a really good comedy crowd, really good stage. Seth is an awesome host. He knows how to hold a room, and he knows how to put on a show.
I'll definitely be making the trip as much as possible.
That's awesome. And that's saying a lot, because it's a long-ass trip for you. I just have to drive downtown. So.
Yeah, it's a good 3-hour drive. I get to listen to my podcast.
There you go. There you go. Catch up on the Man Room. That's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
And also, I don't want to go without saying, we mentioned it earlier just in passing, but Chaz Logan Hyde hosts a open mic at Lucky's. It's called Amuse Days every Tuesday at Lucky's. I don't know what the status of that show is.
It's not going right now, but as soon as it's over, as soon as the second shutdown is over, or 5th or whatever shutdown we're on now, whenever that's done, he will be doing it again.
So we're on week. It's week 78 of 2 weeks to stop the spread. So we're really closing in.
We're the only state going backwards, it seems.
It does seem like that, which sucks, because typically we follow suit with California and Washington. Whatever they do, we do right after that. Now they're opening up, and we're still scared and hiding in our hole. So without getting too crazy political on the show and pissing a whole swath of people off, just do what you think is right. If you don't want to go out, if you're scared, don't go out. Get your vaccination if you want to do that. If you don't, I hear all these people like yelling at other people about their decisions. It's like, man, I'm in no position to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. The position I'm in is to tell you should do what you want to do, because that's where you live.
Yeah.
That's the United States of America. And that, you don't get caned in the streets for not social distancing.
That's great.
Move to New Delhi. See if you enjoy that. I don't know. Maybe
go to Singapore.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you need a bit of corporal punishment in your life. I don't personally tend to fight back when stuff like that happens. So, but go check out Slice Open Mic Monday nights here in Eugene. And when everything opens back up, please do go check out Amuse Days every Tuesday night at Lucky's with Chaz Logan Hyde. Those shows both sign up at 7:30 and showtime is at 8. And if you are a comedian listening to this and wondering if you should get there early before the sign-up sheet, I showed up at 7:40 to Amuse Days and was like the 9th guy on the bill. So, get there early. Those spots go fast. Dude, I'm
notoriously really early.
Yeah, that's
also
great.
Check out Slap Happy Comedy Presents at the Ghostlight Playhouse in Medford if you're out that way. We'd love to have you and make you laugh.
Yeah, dude, and it's great. Ghostlight Playhouse. I'm actually going to be, if everything goes the way we hope it will, I'll be on stage May 17th at the Ghostlight Playhouse as your opener. Yeah, and it's the first like actual not open mic gig that I've had since 2019. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited too, man. We're keeping fingers crossed that we can have a crowd by then. We'll see what we can do moving forward. If not, we have the streaming platform.
Okay. Tell all of the listeners where they can find you and your content online.
at Slap Happy Comedy, at Slap Happy Media on Instagram, Slap Happy Comedy on TikTok, Slap Happy Comedy on Facebook.
There you go. And, of course, at any open mic that will have you up until...
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, man.
Any outdoor one.
Any outdoor one. There you go. Well, Nick Lanier, thank you so much for joining us today in the Man Room. One thing I've kind of done to people that I don't really tell them I'm going to do, what'd you think of the experience in the Man Room?
It was amazing. Everything that I expected it to be.
Okay.
This room is dope, by the way. I wish I had a man cave like it.
Well, you're welcome to come hang out anytime. I will tell you that he must have set his expectations pretty low for it to be everything that he expected. So I'm thanking you very much for stopping by, dude. It's been a lot of fun. We're gonna go do an open mic, tell some jokes tonight. We'll probably have a few more beers and smoke down a little bit just to get prepared, because that's what happens in the Man Room. We do it once a week, every week, Monday, 8 a.m. a new episode. And don't forget to stop by the website, www.themanroompodcast.com. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Nick.
Cheers, brother.
Thanks for listening. And post transmission.